Hi real writers, this video is about writers needing to know filmmaking. You don't need to know lenses. Like, this is my, whatever this is, it's a 28-70. I've got a EF adapter on my Blackmagic, so I run EF lenses. On there is a 17-40, which allows me to get a slightly wider shot. You don't need to know that stuff. You don't need to know frame rates and IOs and audio and anything like that. You need to know how filmmaking is done though. Perhaps make a short film. That's so handy. It teaches us so much. I made a few short films with my daughter. I wrote a few. She wanted to be a director when she was young, and she'd come back and she'd start editing things together, and there was lines that weren't needed, but she'd leave them in because they were in the middle of dialogue and you couldn't take them out because she didn't have that sort of software and she didn't get enough coverage. You learn all that sort of stuff. You learn that things can be performed. They don't need to be said. But most importantly, I've read a fair few things lately for other people, and you see things, what normally happens, room, and they just go, Craig's office. They won't give the description. They won't say it's, what's this room, 3.5 meters by 3.5 meters, quite messy guitars and other toys litter the room with a vast array of PCs. Nothing like that. They just say, Craig's office. Craig, 60, tall, white. Harry, tall, white. 75, say. And then they'll into the dialogue. And this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And they forget to give us the visuals. Because dialogue is so sexy. Dialogue is that thing that everyone wants. Go to a forum, go to Reddit, go to Facebook, go to school, go to any of the forums, and the really common question is, how do I write great dialogue? Because for us, dialogue is like the guitar solo of being in a band. Every guitarist wants the solo, even the bass players. It is the thing that we get there and go, oh, that was so good. And we don't realise how little dialogue there is. Go read the cafe scene in Pulp Fiction when they're talking about Jules walking the earth and a pig being a dirty creature. There's no big blocks of dialogue. It's bang, 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 bang. There's two guys having a chat, having a talk. It's very short dialogue. But people get there and they just want to do that. They want to write the sword fight. They want to write the back and forth. They want to write that great dialogue. You don't need it a lot of the time. So what they fail to do the visual storytelling. They fail to set the room up. They fail to set the scene up. Now think about this. If I'm sitting here and someone's standing behind me and they're walking around me, I'm going to be looking at them. I'm going to be a bit paranoid. What are they doing behind me? And you see this. And that's a shot they'll do all the time. They'll be close in on me, like I am here, and just have guys walking behind me and me looking really, really scared. There's a shot like that in Snatch. Del Boy, I think it is. He's sitting on the ground, and the voiceover from Jason Statham's like, he knows he's dead. The pikeys are just figuring out where they're going to bury the body, and he's sitting there and he's crying, and all you do is just see the legs of the gypsies, the pikeys, walking back and forth in front of him. You don't see the top half of their body. Him sitting, crying, not begging, not dialogue, like, come on fellas, I didn't see anything, you're okay with me, I'm one of you. None of that. He's just sitting there on the verge of tears and these legs walking back and forth in front of him, because Guy Ritchie's a bit of a genius. That's what you want. And what you'll also see is when people don't think of writing for the film, they'll say, especially if they think they are writing for the film, and they go long shot or wide on. I've seen this. Wide on snow-covered street, New York Christmas Eve. Steve's playing with a watch and slips it into his pocket. Wide on, but we see Steve slip a watch into his pocket. How the hell that happened?
Am I making any sense at all?
If you're going to do it, don't say wide on. Just say the New York street, snow, busy Christmas crowd. Steve makes his way through. Then you could sort of say In Steve's hand is a small watch. We see him conceal it and put it into his pocket. Because that tells someone who's read it, okay, we didn't say wide on, we said New York street, covered in snow, crowds. Automatically we know that's going to be a wide shot because we've seen films before. Then we see a watch in his hand, he puts it in his pocket, people go, oh, close on. So straight away they go wide, or we're cutting in close, and then we go, Steve pushes his way through a few people as he makes his way to the door, medium shot. So you didn't have to call it out, but you thought of it. You put him in that order so people know, saying, okay, he pushes his way through the crowd while he slips a watch into his pocket. If it's a medium shot, he's pushing his way through the crowd, how do we see him put his... You have to break these things up so people can see the shots. So it looks like you have thought of the shots. Goya, David S. Goya, in his BAFTA lecture, just go watch all the BAFTA lectures, they're genius. In his BAFTA lecture, he talks about how he describes things in depth. He's a master, so he doesn't go overboard. That's the things you shouldn't do when you describe in depth. Don't repeat yourself twice. The monster is massive. It barely fits through a doorway. As it crosses the room, it fills from wall to wall. It is the biggest thing you've ever seen. 4 sentences for the same thing. No, he doesn't do that. The monster is massive, fills the room. 1 word. But she doesn't do it. I'm putting words in David's mouth. But what he spoke about was in the first Blade script. Go find it, read it, you'll see it for yourself. Blade enters the room like a living nightmare. That got through production, got through everything. And the director looked at him and said, what does that look like, David? And then David says, I'm never going to be that lazy again. I'm going to help the director. Even if the director doesn't understand or doesn't agree with what I've done, he's going to know that I've thought of every single thing and I'm not leaving him. I'm not hanging him out to dry. He's not being left in the lurch. Someone's thought of it. He's not forced to think of something. That's the beauty of if you do this visual writing and you actually know how a filmmaker works, you will then go, what you've given the director is a base. He can agree with you because you may have made an obvious choice. It's a bit like 1-4-5 in music. Everyone knows that chord progression. But he might go and throw something else and he may do something completely different. But at least he knows you've thought of him. At least he knows that you haven't done something which is unfilmable. That's not going to happen. He knows that you haven't said, across a room, Steve whispers to Gillette. Gillette's here, but he's whispering across a room. You can probably hardly hear that now, but the mic's pretty well positioned. But if I was whispering like this, you probably wouldn't hear what I was saying. But people write that. He whispers to her across the room. No, he may mouth a word to her across the room, but he can't whisper across a room. Those are the sorts of things that unless you think like a filmmaker, you're going to write those silly things down. Get onto YouTube. Filmwrite was a good one. Go just watch filmmakers. Watch camera things. How to film this. How to do ADR. And just learn how things are filmed. Because that's what you're writing about. You're writing a film. You cannot only do half the job. You just can't put a story out because they may as well buy a novel. What they're buying off you is basically the story that could be in a novel that's been thought about and made visual. Well, you can't make it visual if you don't know what goes into making something visual. It's as simple as that. Thank you to everyone who's been doing this. That's a marvellous thing. I put a video out a couple of weeks. By the time you see this, will be a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't done anything for a while. I put one out and it took off. Heaps of engagement, heaps of chat back and forth. I really appreciate everyone who does it. The bearded screenwriter, everyone who jumps on and has a chat. It's a huge help. YouTube rewards it. rewards us, rewards everybody. A thumbs up will tell YouTube that you like screenwriting stuff, because I put all that into the metadata, and they will show you more things that are like this, more things on the screenwriting and the creative arts. The book, we'll do it this side. There's a book. The book is good. It's tools, not rules. It doesn't tell you how to write. It helps you solve problems. The t-shirt, there'll be a link below. 20% off writerduet for you. I make no money out of that. That's just something that you can use if you're going to use writerduet. I buy everything from writerduet. I'm a full service zealot. But they don't give me any money. Writerduet, I'm thinking. And until next time, guys, keep writing. Bye.